From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Nima Momeni, the man accused of fatally stabbing a tech executive, will be back in court today with a whole new legal team. We look ahead at the proceedings this morning.
All right, Justin, thanks. And could more trouble be on the horizon for former President Trump? What we are learning could happen this week on top of his latest legal issues. Plus,
it's a shame that something like this is going away. We're just hoping that someone's going to rally.
it was the last call for Anchor Brewing Company, The Rush, before they officially close their doors, and the hope to keep the icon alive.
And we have a cool down to kick off this work week here in the Bay Area, despite many other areas throughout the states warming up a lot. We'll have more on that coming up in your first look forecast.
And as we get our work week started, we'll take a look at the roadways. It is already a busy ride for our super commuters. There's an accident on the Altamont Pass. We'll have the details coming right up.
Hey, good morning to you. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. We are taking a live look outside in San Francisco from our Mark Hopkins camera. A little foggy out there, a little hit and miss I noticed on my way in. Also what I noticed, Jess, this morning, I could not stop staring at the moon. Just
I know.
Incredible for anyone who saw it. You may have even seen it over the weekend.
Exactly.
So
and
what's going on?
Peaking as we head into the month of August. We're not only going to have one, but two supermoons right around the corner. That happens tomorrow, and it happens August 30th. So take your eyes to the skies and check it out once this fog really clears up in your local area. Let's start off with that this morning. Widespread throughout the Bay Area, that marine layer is kind of holding on strong. We're heading into the first couple days of August right around the corner. And we're going to be seeing a very similar trend to this morning's forecast with cool temperatures and those clouds kind of hanging low just over the Salesforce Tower right now, where temperatures are sitting at 56 degrees. We're off to a nice and cool start this morning. Here's what we're looking at later this afternoon across the bay. Cloudy skies all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. You see that right behind these numbers. 62 for our friends along the coast, 80s in our inland areas. It'll be nice and mild for us today. We have a cool down as we wrap up this week. Heading into this weekend, we'll see a little bit more of a shift in those temperatures. Now, here's widespread clouds for us waking up this morning. Notice how we really clear up just into those late morning hours. By lunchtime, we're pretty much seeing sunny skies all throughout the Bay Area, minus our coast, anywhere from Pacifica down into Half Moon Bay, where temperatures today are actually below average. We're sitting about 7 degrees below average along the coast. Still nice and warm for us this afternoon in our inland areas, about 5 to 10 degrees above average, but we're only going to cool down more and more day by day, which is nice compared to the rest of the states, where the Southwest this afternoon is still dealing with a lot of record-breaking heat. I mean, Phoenix alone dealt with 30 straight days above 110 degrees. They're luckily getting some monsoonal moisture, but I mean, they're only cooling down to 106 today to kind of break that huge stint of that record-breaking heat. Now, we're going to talk more about how that heat dome is going to impact us later this weekend, coming up in your first alert forecast. But for now, I'm going to send it over to you, Jocelyn.
All right. Thank you, Jez. Well, happy Monday as we get our work week started. Let's take a look at the roadways. We talk about the Altamont Pass every morning. We know it's a very busy route for our super commuters. Traffic is already building up. It's about a 31-minute drive from 205 over to 680 there. There is an accident we want to talk about there, though. This is on 580 eastbound right before exit 65. So just keep that in mind as far as any delays in and around that area. Over at the Bay Bridge, those metering lights are still off there. You're looking at about a 7-minute drive from the toll plaza over to the city. At the San Mateo Bridge, heading westbound, already getting pretty busy. 13-minute drive from 880 over to 101. And at the Golden Gate Bridge, things are looking pretty clear and everything's moving smoothly. 19-minute drive from Highway 37 over to the bridge.
Happening today, Nima Momeni, the man accused of stabbing and killing tech executive Bob Lee, is due back in court for a hearing this morning. You may remember last month, the judge pushed back Momeni's preliminary hearing for today. The last time Momeni was in court was back in June, and that's when we saw him with a whole new defense team after he and his original defense attorney, Paula Canny, parted ways. Confidence is key with this new team, and Momeni's attorneys say his family is feeling better about it. Neither lawyer on Momeni's new legal team, though, is licensed to practice in California, which is a procedural matter that further postponed the initial June preliminary hearing. The team used this time to literally build their case from scratch. Here's what one of Momeni's new attorneys shared with us last month.
Whatever happened in the past is in the past. We are fresh eyes, fresh perspectives. We're in the infancy portion of doing our due diligence.
All right, so we can expect to see Momeni and his whole new legal team at today's hearing, which is scheduled for 9 o'clock this morning. My colleague Lauren Toms will be in court as well to learn any updates as we get them on this murder trial. Amanda.
X marks the spot of a big battle brewing over Elon Musk's flashy new sign. It's on top of what was the Twitter building, and it was so bright on Friday that neighbors were outraged. Since then, the lights have been dimmed, but the city is investigating whether Musk had the permits to put the huge X on top of the building in the first place. GOP candidates were out campaigning over the weekend as they wait for updates from the investigations surrounding former President Donald Trump. Leading GOP contenders focused their fire on President Biden and also former President Trump. Former Texas Representative Will Hurd was booed after attacking Trump in Iowa. Well, there's some possible new indictments on top of the extensive legal peril former President Donald Trump is facing. His trial dates are set after being indicted in 2 different criminal cases. One tied to hush money payments, the other tied to mishandling classified documents just last week. During a probe, more charges were tacked on, including claims he showed off classified military plans. A Mar-a-Lago property manager is due in court this morning to testify. That's it on your morning's top stories. Right closer to home, Anchor Brewing's public taps closed their doors for possibly the last time, but there's still some hope that someone could swoop in and save the day. The company announced plans to close down earlier this month after being in business for more than a century, but employees got together to make a pitch to buy that company. Since then, dozens of other parties have come forward as well. In the meantime, last night was about celebrating the company at their tap room. Betty Yu shows us there was a huge line before those doors even opened.
The 127-year-old Anchor Brewing Company had its final service here at its tap room on Sunday. So many people showed up, they actually had to turn people away before they officially closed their doors. The line to get into Anchor Public Taps stretched down the block in Potrero Hill. Many fans of the historic San Francisco brand savored the last pints of their favorite beer and picked up whatever they could carry on their way out. Tell me what you got here.
Oh, I got a lot of memorabilia. I got some beers to go.
San Francisco resident Tim McNeil picked up Christmas ale from 2017 and 18.
I typically don't drink it during the summertime, but I was like, I kind of felt like I had to do it.
Anchor Brewing Company's heritage goes back to the gold rush. Sapporo USA announced in July that it would be closing because of a huge loss in sales, largely due to the pandemic. Employees were given 60 days notice and promised severance packages. Why was it important for you to be here as a Boston resident?
As a Boston resident, nostalgia.
Bill Covert stopped by before catching a flight on Sunday.
It's a shame that something like this is going away. We're just hoping that someone's going to rally.
Anchor Brewing's future is still uncertain. Since announcing its closure, the brewery said there are about 24 investors, including former employees, who are interested in buying it during the liquidation process. Patrick Mockel is a union rep who said the union is working with 2 law groups so they can present a competitive bid. The union wants to run it as a worker-owned cooperative.
We know how to run the plant for the most part. If you try and sell it or try and sell it to another company and just fire everybody and get rid of us, like, you're going to have a hard time training everybody.
Anchor Brewing spokesperson Sam Singer said there should be a decision in the next month or so as to who the owner or owners could be.
But I think the outpouring of support for Anchor Brewing Company from employees, from the public, from San Francisco is an indication of how strongly people feel about the beers and the company. And hopefully somebody else will see that and keep the history moving forward.
On Sunday, customers shared bittersweet memories of the beloved San Francisco icon.
I feel like it's good community. Like, everyone's happy. The vibes are really good. So, yeah, I mean, just overall, it's it's sad, but it's a nice, like, send off.